Welcome to the Knowledge Trap with Pretty Tony, Wise Counsel, Holistic Health and Fitness. Let's get into some of these concepts involving men's rights. And it's insane that we have so many men in so-called power and leadership positions, but these ideas are not discussed. Now, if you have a woman or you interested in a woman and she's strongly opposed to these ideas or gets overly defensive for no apparent reason, you got to ask yourself as a man, does she have women and men's best interests at heart? Or does she want to maintain an avenue to exploit men? Is the goal to be fair to everyone? Apparently, there was a time where women were exploited. They were seen as subordinates. I didn't live in those times or experience those times, but they couldn't vote. They had limited opportunities and they were relegated to stay-at-home mothers. On the other hand, they were protected, they were provided for, and they had to face less of the world's stressors. And of course, households were much more stable, so maybe there was some type of fair trade-off, and the climate back then wasn't how it is framed today, how the media and feminists make it seem, which can cause animosity and discord between the sexes, and even cause resentment for men today who had nothing to do with the so-called oppression of women back then. We don't have a feel for the atmosphere in 1901, so we don't know if the everyday women back then really felt oppressed. Now men are oppressed and we got to fight for the rights we deserve. Let's start with DNA tests. DNA testing, the technology has been around for 40 plus years, and one day men gonna look back and say, what took so long? If women can know 100% without a shadow of a doubt that this is their biological child, shouldn't men get that same opportunity? Just as women. DNA testing could be included in hospital bills, during the pregnancy, or at birth every single time. Every single time. I don't know what the conversation, lack of conversation amongst political leaders. We have DNA tests that can be done within 8 weeks of pregnancy, and there's another test that can be done within 10 weeks of pregnancy to alleviate any question or concern. If a man signs a birth certificate in good faith with good intentions, and somehow, miraculously, he is not the father, he has hell getting out of that responsibility. There's steps, there's court proceedings, and a lying, promiscuous mother doesn't assist him in the process of getting off the hook. She usually collects child support as long as possible with no repercussions of paternity fraud. Mandatory DNA testing holds women accountable, and men don't have to hear, oh, my partner don't trust me. Oh, why are you suspecting this and suspecting that? And it causes arguments in the relationship because the man asked for a DNA test. Plus, he can be 100% sure of his biological relation to that child. Over 30% of men who request DNA tests are not the father. They're confirmed not the father. That's a lot of cheating moms. Tests should be as early as possible now that we have non-invasive tests that can be done within 8 weeks. If a man is supporting a woman in any form or fashion and the baby turns out to not be his after birth, she should be held accountable to reimburse that man all of his expenses, and the court should enforce it just like they enforce child support. Every child should be DNA tested, not only for the sensible, ethical reasons, but it makes sense medically. We need to know the child's true relatives for the sake of family history and health conditions, predispositions for genetic risk factors, and the history of mental illness in families. Inaccurate information regarding the child's ancestry is a disservice and is dangerous for the child. What's more important, the mother's feelings or the child's safety and health? Next, let's go to abortion. I'm not here to debate the right and wrongness or the moral points of abortion. Technically, it is murder, but in cases of serious medical conditions, incest, forced sexual acts, and statutory assaults where someone is underage, these are the exceptions to abortion, in my opinion, in any case. But in cases where abortion is generally legal, a woman should not be able to abort a child without the consent of the father. And I know women quick to argue, my body, my choice. But if we're in a relationship, I can't just say my body and I can sleep with who I want. No, what I do affects my partner, and I must be fair and considerate, and I made a commitment to my partner. Plus, when people get divorced, women just don't say, oh, that was his house before I met him, keep the house. No, you're going to take what the judge gives you. So let's not let women gaslight us. We gave 50% of that DNA to that child, not totally her kid. A man should have a say-so whether or not that child continues to exist beyond the fetal stage of life, and she should not be able to kill that kid at her own discretion. Point blank, women have many options prior, during, and after pregnancy. They can request condoms. They can use a day after pill. They can use birth control in the form of pills, shots, and implants. They can abort the baby, or they can get a baby up for adoption. They have many choices. Men, on the other hand, we can use a condom, or we can have a very invasive procedure as a vasectomy, or we should have been more responsible in child support waiting on us. That's our options. In my case, I have 2 beautiful children, never thought about aborting them, enjoy fatherhood thoroughly, and would not trade them for the world. Their mother abandoned them after a couple years, and what if she would have said, I want to abort these children, and I would have had no say-so, and this world would have never had these 2 exceptional, gifted children, straight A's and exceptional athletes. Before she has the right to abort that child, she needs to know who the father is, verified that he consents to the abortion. If she doesn't know who her father is, she should not get government assistance. These type of laws and standards will hold everyone accountable, protecting all parties involved, including the children, and it will reduce risky, reckless behavior, increase healthy, stable families, because people are forced to think ahead of consequences. Lastly, let's dive into divorce court and child custody. Divorce rates remain high. Marriage rates continue to decrease. Marriage and divorce laws are based on outdated concepts, extinct gender roles, and social norms. People don't even live like they used to live, but these laws are still based on those times. Women work now, they're not housewives. Women are educated. Why are men still responsible for women when relationships don't work out? We're equals, right? The majority of custody battles with children, women are awarded majority custody of the child. Why, when every study shows that men can raise kids as equally or better than women? Every study I've ever read shows that men are fully capable of raising children. Women should not be given majority custody on the merits that, hey, I'm a female. Women are incentivized to destroy their households. I can divorce my husband, I can get the property, I can get the child, I can get spousal support, I can get government assistance, I can make my own income, and I can find a new man to contribute his resources. So I benefit or give an illusion of winning by actually losing because of financial gain. No, while we together, you benefit from my resources. If we don't work out, you don't deserve any of my resources unless you directly, and you can prove it, directly contributed to their earnings and product. Whatever I had before I met you is automatically mine, and you don't deserve any because we're equal, so I should be entitled to your things if we don't work out, if it's that way. Also, in the case we don't work out, the children are split 50-50. No one gets child support. That's the way it should be. Then if you can't handle your kids or you can't provide for them on your own, give the kids to the parent who can provide, and that gives you more time to work and pay child support. If one parent must leave the home state of the child, then that parent pays child support, unless the custodial parent waives the rights to the child, waives the rights to child support, or agrees to 6-month custody exchanges. During family court, if one parent is blatantly lying, falsifying information in court, or committing unethical acts, such as filing unwarranted protective orders, then that parent should be facing immediate jail time, especially if the claims are heavily unsubstantiated. Women should not be given the child on the merits, once again, that I am a female. If you don't want to split custody with a man 50-50, make better decisions. If you BS in court, face jail time. If you want a home in your name, earn it. If you can't take care of the child on your own after the relationship ends, pay child support and lose custody. That simple. Put more effort into building and maintaining the relationship that you already in. These rules promote healthy families, fairness to women, fairness to men, and most importantly, fairness to children. Although these concepts are totally logical, well thought out, and fair, these ideas sound absolutely repulsive to many women because it doesn't feel good. They don't want to be held accountable. And these laws would interfere with their established scheme. They wouldn't be able to easily manipulate the system. Accountability is the kryptonite to your everyday superwoman. Any woman who strongly opposes these ideas and can't provide a sound, logical, reasonable explanation, you as a straight man, you have to question her view of men, her intentions for men, her love for men, her loyalty to men, and explore the possibility that she's an opportunist who seeks comfort in knowing that there's always an angle to exploit men. This is only about fairness, accountability, and stable families. What's the argument about?